everyone, it's Tam with Homemade Smiles with TLC. This is what we're going to be making today. Today's project is going to be a bottle scarecrow. And these are the supplies that you're going to need. I purchased this bottle at Dollar Tree for $1.25. I removed the cap that was on it. And that was very easy. So we're going to use that. You're going to need some raffia. I purchased the hula skirt. They still have them at my Dollar Tree. Hopefully they do yours. Pick up a couple of these because I did. Because you'll use it throughout, the fall season with your crafts. And the sunflower embellishments that I purchased in the haul that I showed you in that video. Some burlap. This is a large piece that I did get at Dollar Tree. All of this stuff is pretty much Dollar Tree except for the paints. This was in a roll, and it's a very large piece, and it'll work out nicely. Some jute, some paints that I purchased at Walmart, the Apple Barrel white chalk, the Apple Barrel nutmeg brown, and the Waverly in pumpkin. I use the paper plate to put my paints on. It's disposable. Throw it away when you're done. Easy peasy. Then you're going to need some paint brushes. And these are the ones that I like to use for painting on glass. And I purchased these at Dollar Tree as well. They are $1.25, and you get all of these in there. But I love this one the best because I use that little pouncing method when I paint glass. But, there's other paintbrushes that I'll need for, drawing on the face and what have you for that. So, then you're going to need some permanent markers, some scissors, and last but not least, your hot glue gun and some glue sticks. So, hey, let's get started. So I'm preparing the burlap. I noticed when I unrolled it, it's quite wrinkled. So I'm going to iron that and make that nice and flat so that it will work out well. So if yours is like that, you might want to iron it on a low setting. Takes a little time. It is burlap, but it will come out. So that's the next step. So there you go, all nice and ironed. You can still see a little wrinkles, but in the end, that's not going to make a difference. But I needed it to be flat so I could work with it easier. You can use a hot press if you have one. I currently don't have one, maybe someday, but I just use my old iron, and I use that, and it works perfectly well. Burlap is a little difficult, it needs to be a little hot, but it will work out in the long run. So there you have that. Okay, everybody, I'm ready to paint the bottle. I didn't like the stark white color of the chalk paint for the face. I wanted more, fleshy tone. So what I did was I took some of the chalk paint white from Waverly or from Apple Barrel, and then I took some of the Apple Barrel nutmeg, a few drops, and I mixed it up for the color that I like. And you can do that to your preference. You may like just the white chalk paint, but this was my preference. So that's what I did. And they probably have a flesh color that you can buy, but I didn't have any on hand. So I made my own. Just mixed a few drops in with, some of the chalk paint little by little, and just kept mixing it till I got it to the color that I like. So there you have that. Got that done. And now we're ready to paint the bottle. And I'll put that brush there. I'm going to use the pounce method like I told you before. Make sure that you clean your bottle real well with soap and water. Then spray it down with some rubbing alcohol and make it nice, nice surface to work with. I'm not going to worry about this. I mean, it might come off pretty easy, but we'll see. I'll probably worry about that later, but for now, well, it's coming off pretty easy. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're stuck on there like pretty good. Well, that came off easy. I'll clean that up with some, rubbing alcohol later. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start painting the bottle. And you just, you know, pounce your little brush in there. And it'll be bubbly, but that's okay. You know, I mean, sometimes it dries really flat with a nice flat surface, but sometimes, you know, it has the brush marks, but that's okay for this project because, you know, it's a scarecrow. Scarecrows are, you know, they're not always, you know, flat surface, you know, they're made with, you know, potato sacks and everything else in real life. So, so you do that. That's your pouncing method there. And I like it because the coverage goes on really well. I mean, you don't have to, most of the time, I don't have to do more than one coat. Um, but, you know, every now and then I do. And this will peel if you scratch it or whatever. So I do have a sealer. I can't spray it here in the craft room, but I have a sealer. It's like a Mod Podge sealer, clear, that, you know, you can spray it with to, you know, seal it so it doesn't peel, you know, when you touch it or, you know, whatever. So there you do that. And so there you have that. That is how we do that. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I'm getting that in there good. So that's how you do that. And I'm liking that so far. And, you know, you guys don't need to sit here and watch me paint. You know how to paint. I've showed you the method. So that's what you do. You paint your project. And I'll be back once this is dry, and then we can start, you know, embellishing it and putting it together. Alrighty. Okay, all dry. You saw that I used the heat dryer, the air dryer. If you don't have one, just your blow dryer, you know, an old blow dryer, whatever, will work perfect as well. So now I'm going to put on the face the best I can. I'm not great at drawing, so this may not turn out, but I'm going to try. So we're going to, that's there. We're going to, I think my Sharpie is not coming out so well. And if it doesn't come out the way you like it, you can always paint over it and start over. They do have the little felt craft kits at Dollar Tree with the scarecrows and different faces and stuff. You could take one of those for $1.25, and they have the eyes and the nose and everything to go with it. But I'm just trying to freehand this. And of course I got that one much bigger than the other one. Yes, I sure did. All right. Well, now you see boo-boos. That's how that works, right? Yeah, no. Okay, so for the face, I I'm not great at drawing, and I had told you about the felt kit that they have at Dollar Tree. So I purchased one of those, and I used the nose, which I drew around it and embellished that. I used the eyes, embellished that with the Sharpie marker, and I drew on my own mouth. Because like I said, I mean, I'm not great at eyes. I'm practicing, I'm getting better, but I'm not that great yet. So we're done with the face. And once, we get the everything going with this, it'll all come together. But anyway, I wanted to show you the face, and that's how I did it. If you're, you can do these faces anyway. But for, someone who's not experienced yet with doing faces and that stuff, it took me several tries last year to do my snowman face, and I ended up making a template off of the internet. I just took a piece of paper, put it up to the screen, and then traced it, like we used to do when we were kids in school. So yeah, I did that, and that's how I made that face. But this kit was, I mean, for $1.25, and I will use the felt pieces for other things, so it was worth the purchase. So we're going to put on the raffia next for the hair, and yeah, so we're going to do that. So let me get that stuff ready for you. Okay, so I cut a piece of the hula skirt. This is, I don't know, about a six inch piece or so. And I'm just going to wrap this around the neck up here. Because, yeah, I think I'll go here. And I'm just going to wrap this around, and, yeah. So let's start, turn it around, start in the back. Put a little glue here. Glue that on there. Hold that for a hot second. And there you go. And we're just gonna wrap it. Keep wrapping it. Put it a little snug. And then we're going to trim this all up, as you can imagine. So, that in there. That glue down. I ran into some snags here. I mean, I'm not, I'm not like, a seasoned crafter here myself, So, I've learned a little bit on this one. So we're going to bring all the raffia forward. Okay. And since this is going to be a girl for me, I'll cut that off here in a minute. I'm going to, separate this. And I think I'm going to get some ribbon and make little pigtails. I think I will do that. So I'm just going to use some jute to make a couple of little ponytails here. Wrap that around a couple of times. And then tie it off in the front. I'll probably make some little bows or something to put on there, but, like I said, my videos are just to give you guys the basics. And, your embellishments and stuff, you make it your own. And, you know, dress it up the way you like it, you know. So there you have that. I'm going to go over and do this one. I'll trim some of that off. See if I have these even. Make that even. Cute. Wrap it around a few times. And then tie it off. I think the hat's probably going to be my biggest challenge, but hopefully I can get that on. And there you have that. And let's see. You know, I may, some of this is not sticking in there. I may use this to, you know, kind of, because the hat's going to cover this. So I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll tie some jute up here at the top as well. Just so it, like, shapes it better. You know what I'm saying? There. There you have that. We'll just cut this one out. And here's a piece of jute. And we'll do that. There we go. Cut these off. And then I'm going to hot glue the raffia to the bottle so that, you know, it's like, well, that came undone. Yeah, I'm going to undo this because this is not sticking right. So there you have that. I did hot glue a little bit of the raffia here on the forehead so that, you know, when the hat goes on, hopefully that stays in there. So she's got some little bangs when the hat goes on, and she has little ponies, her little piggy tails. And I'm going to make a couple of ribbons to, little bows to put on here on her little piggy tails. So there you have that. And our next step is going to be putting on the hat. I have a whole bunch of raffia and stuff here. So let me clean that all up so that we can work on putting the hat on and the embellishments, and I'll be right back. Okay, so got that all cleaned up, and we can see what we're doing here. So that's what we're looking like so far. You know, like I said, I'm not a great painter, so I didn't end up using the Waverly pumpkin chalk paint because I used the felt kit. I would have if I had painted it. Maybe I will on a future bottle because I plan on making another one of these because this, you know, your first one or your first try at it is kind of a demo, you know. It's like you, but you always kind of keep that one. I don't know why, I always do. I'm like, that was my first one. You can tell, you know. But so there you have that, and we're going to see how we're going to. Here's my burlap. And I know I do not need this whole piece, but the hat is going to go on like this. And then we're going to tie it with some jute. And we're going to see how that's, I'm thinking, you know, maybe start with half of this. You know, we're going to start with half of it. And, I'm going to pull one of the threads out. Hopefully I can pull one out. And nope, not gonna do it on this one. Okay. Well, sometimes you can pull one of the threads and it'll give you a nice clean line to cut your burlap. So I'm gonna cut this up and we'll get putting that hat on. So I ended up cutting this, as you can tell, 11 inches in height, length, and about 17, 18 inches width. So that's about how big this piece is. So yeah, that's that. So we're going to put this on, and how this is going to go, to try and center it, with the top there. I need some jute because we're gonna tie that off. We're gonna wrap it several times, and let's see, we'll get that down like that. And the gapping is how you want it. So don't worry about that, because that looks more like a straw hat. And I want to I'm going to grab this, I'm going to pull it a little bit, and then I'm going to start wrapping really tight till I get it wrapped all the way around. And you can make this as thick or, whatever as you want, but that's, that's how you're going to do that. And then tie it off. And tie it real tight. Tie it in a knot. And there you have that. And that's pretty much how your hat, you can, start adjusting it a little bit. And let's see here. That needs to come down some here. But as you can tell, the hat's too big, so I need to cut that down some. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do this together. So I cut it down to, as you can tell, a little over 12 inches. 13, a 13 by 11, 11 this way and 11 across. So that's what I did, and I think that's gonna look a whole lot better. Cut me off some more jute. And we'll check it out. I mean, it's trial and error, step by step. So we'll just do it together and get that kind of centered and grab it. And that's still, I think I might pull this back a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And or maybe do what I just did, but pull it back a little bit, pull it down, or maybe turn it this way, do it that way. This looks so easy in other videos. Too funny. So, let me see. Maybe their bottle was taller, I don't know. But, I mean, I think I can, like, hot glue this back once we get it tied on, and then you can see it better. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and tie it off and, see how we do here. I have to hold that down. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. You just got to play with it, you know. I mean, because it is burlap and it is stiff. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. Wrap it and tie it. Put a little hot glue there, maybe. Maybe not yet. I'll wait for that to see how we're going to do this. Because I've seen some with a brim where they, you know, had put a brim on it. And it looked pretty cute. But that's pretty much, you know, how we're looking here. And, you know, where they turned it up. Where, you know, it was like that. And that looks pretty cute. I kind of like that. And then hot glue it, you know. I like that. I think that looks pretty cute. So that's what the back would look like. So yeah, I'm gonna hot glue that. And hey everybody, yeah, I wanted to show you that I did, you know, the little light bulb went off in my head after I was done, and I started thinking, I'm like, I'm just not real happy with that hat. And so I got the scissors and I trimmed the burlap up. I will fray it some more on this side, you know, maybe turn this up a little more for it looks more like a hat. But yeah, it looks a lot better now. I'm more happy with it. And yeah, I played around with it quite a bit. But there you have it. I did embellish the hat with some leaves and a smaller sunflower. And then I put the sunflowers on her little ponies. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Looks pretty cute. It'll hang out here in my craft room as all of my first ones that I do. And they're my reminders of, hey, remember when you did that? Yep, that was the first time you did that. It looks it too. I'm just kidding. You know, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. But I did mention earlier that I'd been crafting for a year and a half. I've been crafting longer than that, about 3 years or so. But more serious the past year and a half. So anyway, with that all being said, thanks for hanging out with me. And if you wish, like and subscribe. Share with your friends, you know, and that would be greatly appreciated. But you all have a wonderful day, and God bless you. And always remember, Jesus loves you. Bye.